Good morning, friends. Hope you are all fine. Friends, you know that we have completed chapter number 1 related to introduction. Now we are going to learn today is the forms of business organization. So friends, first of all, I have to say that there are a lot of forms of business organization is there. First, we can say sole proprietorship. What is sole proprietorship? Sole proprietorship means when only one person is there. Number two is the partnership, where more than one person is there to start the business. So let's see the topic, friends. Introduction. If one is planning to start a business or is interested in expanding an existing one, an important decision related to the choice of the forms of organization. Now, what they want to say, if one is planning to start a business, if anyone want to start a business, or anyone is interested in expanding an existing one, an important decision relate to the choice of the form of organization. The most appropriate form is determined by weighing the advantages and disadvantages of each type of organization against one's own requirement. Now, what they want to say is that there are lot of forms of businesses are there. So, first one, what they want to say, if one is planning to start a business or is interested to expand the existing one business, the decision to be taken, which form of business is to be selected, right? And the person has to think related to his advantages also as well as the disadvantages also as per his own requirement, right? No, now let's take the example, what are the various forms of organization in which we can have the choice. So which type of forms of business organization is there? The first is the sole proprietorship. Number two is HUF, that we can say Hindu undivided family. Third is the partnership, cooperative society, and the joint stock company. So friends, we have to discuss all this point in a very great way. So let's start the sole proprietorship. Now, what is sole proprietorship? I am saying the definition too. When only one person is at the top who think of start of doing the business, arrange the capital, right? Arrange the capital, right? And does everything for the business, manages the whole business, is known as sole proprietorship. Now, what is that? Do you often go in the evenings to buy the register? Yes. Pens? Yes. Chart paper, etc. from a small neighborhood stationery store? Yes. Well, in all probability, in the course of your transaction, you have interacted with a sole proprietor. Now, what they want to say, they are giving an example for this. What they want to say, right? They are giving an example. If we go outside of our home, you can see a small shop, a small grocery store, or a stationery store, or a vegetable vendor, fruit seller, anyone we can say. If you purchase anything from that type of store, you can interact with the sole proprietor. That means a one person who manages the entire business. Clear? Sole proprietor is a popular form of business organization. Why it's a popular? Because mostly 90% business is done by the sole proprietorship. It's popular and the organization is most popular, right? And the organization is most suitable form for small businesses. What they want to say is most suitable form for small businesses, especially in their initial year of operation. First of all, any business is always started with the small scale only, and then after it increases, especially in their initial year of operation. Especially in the initial year of operation. Clear? Now let's see the next. Sole proprietor refers to a form of business organization which is owned, managed, and controlled by an individual. Right? What they want to say? Sole proprietor refers to Sole proprietorship refers to a form of business organization which is owned, managed, and controlled by an individual who is a recipient of all profit and bearer of all risk. Clearly, they want to say that sole proprietorship means the business, already I said to you, which is owned, managed, and controlled by an individual who is the recipient of all the profit and bearer of all the risk. This is evident from the term itself. The word sole implies only one person, and proprietor refers to the owner, only owner. Here, a sole proprietorship is one who is the only owner of a business. So, I think it's very clear sole proprietorship. But we can say sole proprietorship is such a form of business organization in which only one person who is the owner, managed, and controlled by an individual who is the recipient of all profits and bearer of all the risk. This form is particularly common in areas of personalized service such as beauty parlors, hair salons, and small scale activities. Now, the most important thing is the feature, that is the characteristics. Now, what is the characteristics? The first is the formation and the closure. That means how to establish this sole proprietorship and how to close this form. First of all, there is no separate law. It's very easy, right? There is very easy way when we can do in a very efficiently also. What they want to say, there is no separate law that governs the sole proprietorship. Clearly they want to say there is no separate law, no separate law that governs the sole proprietorship. Hardly any legal formalities are required to start a sole proprietor. Clearly they want to say that. What they want to say, there is no separate law. Clear लिखा है, there is no separate law that governs the sole proprietorship. Hardly any legal formalities are required to start a sole proprietorship business, though in some cases one may require a license. अगर कोई chemical का business कर रहे हैं तो we require a license also. Closure of the business can also be done easily, right? Closure भी हम आराम से कर सकते हैं. So what we have learned, formation and closure. But we can say there is no separate law that governs the sole proprietorship. Hardly any legal formalities are required to start a sole proprietor firm, though in some case one may require a license. Closure of a business can also be done easily. Thus, there is a very easy method that they want to say. Thus, this is very easy formation as well as the closure of the business. Very easy and the closure of the business, right? So what we can say, friends, formation and the closure. Liability. The liability of the sole proprietorship is what? Is unlimited, right? That means if he has taken a loan from any organization or any bank, right, he has to pay his debt from his personal asset also. So let's see the liability. Sole proprietor have unlimited liability. This implies that the owner is personally responsible for the payment of debt in case of the asset of a business which are not sufficient to meet the debts. Clear? Very simple they want to say. Sole proprietor have the unlimited liability. This implies that the owner is personally responsible for the payment of debt in case of asset of the business which are not sufficient to meet all the debt. As such, the owner personal possessions such as his or her personal car and other assets should be sold for repaying the debt. Suppose the total outside the liability of XYZ dry cleaner, a sole proprietorship firm, are rupees 80,000 at the time of dissolution, but its assets are 60,000 only. In such a situation, the proprietor have to bring 20,000 from her personal asset. Clear? That means what they want to say. Suppose the total outside liability, they are saying an example, liability of a dry cleaner XYZ is 80,000, and at the time of admission, his assets was how much? 60,000 only. In such a situation, he has to bring 20,000 from her personal resources, and he has to sell his personal property also. Property to repay the firm debts. So friends, 2 points we have learned. The first is the formation and closure. So clearly they want to say there is no separate law is required that governs the sole proprietorship. Hardly any legal formalities are there to start a sole proprietorship firm, right? And number two is what? Number two is the point related to liability. Sole proprietorship has the unlimited liability that the owner is personally responsible for the payment of debt in case of the asset of the business. Then comes the third one, sole risk bearer and profit recipient. He is the person himself manages the whole business, control the whole business, manages the whole business. That means he is the risk bearer and the profit recipient. The risk of failure of the business, what they want to say, the risk of failure of a business is borne all along by the sole proprietor. What they want to say, the risk of failure of the business is borne alone by the sole proprietor. क्या लिखेंगे? The risk of failure of the business is borne on alone by the sole proprietor. However, if the business is successful, अगर business successful होता है, the proprietor enjoys all the benefit. अगर loss होगा तो भी भरपाई, profit होगा उसी की. That means benefit he will receive and loss he has to bear. So what we can say? The risk of failure of the business is borne all alone. क्या लिखा है? The risk of the failure of the business is to borne all alone by the sole proprietor. However, if the business is successful, the proprietor enjoys all the benefit. He receives all the business profit. क्या लिखा है? He receives all the business profit which become a direct reward of the risk bearing. Right? जो risk को उठाता है उसका benefit उसको मिलता है. ठीक है? So friends, we have learned three topics. The first is the formation and the closure. Number two is liability. Third is the sole risk bearer and the profit recipient. Fifth is the control. Fourth is the control. Already we have discussed. The whole management, the whole controlling power is in the hands of only one person. So let's see that one. Control. The right to run the business and to make the decision. क्या लिखा है? Perfect. The right to run the business and to make all decision lies absolutely with the sole proprietor. He can carry out his plan without any interference of the others. क्या लिखा है? He can carry out the plans. वो carry कर सकता है अपने plan को without any interference from the others. तो 4 point कौन से थे? First is the formation and the closure. Number two is liability, risk bearer and the profit recipient. Fourth is the control. Next is no separate identity. इसमें अलग से नाम नहीं मिलता है, right? In the eyes of the law, there is no distinction is made between the sole trader and his business, as the business does not have an identity separate from the owner. क्या लिखा है? No separate identity. In the eyes of the law, there is no distinction is made between the sole trader and his business, as the business does not have the identity separate from the owner. The owner is therefore held responsible for all the activities of the business. The owner is held responsible for all the activities of the business. So what we can say, no separate entity. In the eyes of the law, there is no distinction between the sole trader and his business, as business does not have the identity separate from the owner. The owner is therefore held responsible for all the activities of the business. लैक ऑफ बिजनेस कंटिन्यूटी, ये सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है इसका, क्योंकि एक लिमिट होता है, उसके बाद वो बिजनेस को आगे हम नहीं बढ़ा सकते हैं. सो व्हाट दे वांट टू से, लैक ऑफ बिजनेस कंटिन्यूटी. द सोल प्रोपरेटर बिजनेस इज ओन्ड, क्या लिखा है? द सोल प्रोपरेटर बिजनेस इज ओन्ड एंड कंट्रोल्ड बाय one person. Therefore, death हो सकता है, insanity हो सकता है, imprisonment हो सकता है, physical ailment या bankruptcy, or have a direct and determinable effect of the business and may even closure of the business. Business को भी बंद हमें करना पड़ेगा. We have to close the business also. So friends, we have learned the characteristics. I think it's very clear the 6 point. The first is the formation and the closure of a business. Number 2 is the liability. Third is the profit risk and the risk bearing capacity and profit recipient control, no separate identity and lack of business continuity. Then comes merits. क्या क्या फायदे होते हैं? मेरिट्स मतलब उसके एडवांटेजेस. Sole proprietor, but they want to say sole proprietor offer many advantages. Sole proprietor offer many advantages. The first is the quick decision making. जल्दी से हम डिसाइड कर सकते हैं हमें करना क्या है. ये sole proprietor enjoys considerable, what we can say, a sole proprietor enjoys considerable degree of freedom. क्या लिखा है? A sole proprietorship enjoys considerable degree of freedom in making business decision. Right? What they want to say? Quick decision making. A sole proprietor enjoys considerable degree of freedom in making business decisions. Further, the decision making is prompt because there is no need to consult the others. क्योंकि किसी को पूछने की जरूरत नहीं है. These lead to timely capitalization of market opportunities as and when arises. तो फटाफट वो डिसीजन ले सकते कि हमें क्या करना है. So what we can say? A sole proprietor enjoys, what we can say, a sole proprietor enjoys considerable degree of freedom. क्या लिखा है? A sole proprietor enjoys considerable degree of freedom in making business decision. Further, the decision making is prompt. Because there is no need to consult the others. These lead to timely capitalization, profit banana, of market opportunities as and when they arise. तो पहला पॉइंट कौन सा था? क्विक डिसीजन मेकिंग. कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन. इंफॉर्मेशन जो है उसको हम छुपा के रख सकते हैं, किसी को बताने की जरूरत नहीं है. Sole decision making authority enables the proprietor to keep all the information related to business confidential and maintained. छुपा के रख सकते हैं, किसी को बताने की जरूरत नहीं है. सीक्रेसी, सीक्रेट मेंटेन कर सकते हैं. डायरेक्ट इनिशिएटिव. डायरेक्ट इनिशिएटिव मतलब सब कुछ उसी को मिल रहा है, राइट? उसकी जो मेहनत है, उसकी जो लगन है, तो बेनिफिट भी उसी को होगा. A sole proprietor directly reaps the benefit of his or effort if he is in the sole proprietor for all the profit. Clear लिखा है. The sole proprietor reaps the benefit his or her efforts as he is the sole recipient of all the profit. The need to share profit does not arise as he or she is the single owner. These provide maximum incentive to the sole trader to work hard. ठीक है, वो पूरी मेहनत करता है जिससे कि उसका प्रॉफिट हो उसको. तो 3 पॉइंट अभी तक पढ़े हमने. द फर्स्ट पॉइंट है क्विक डिसीजन मेकिंग, कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी मेंटेन करना, एंड तीसरा है हमारा डायरेक्ट इनिशिएटिव. सेंस ऑफ अकॉम्प्लिशमेंट, काम खत्म होने का हमें एक संतुष्टि मिलती है. सेंस ऑफ अकॉम्प्लिशमेंट. There is a personal satisfaction involved in the working for oneself. Personal satisfaction हो जाता है. The knowledge that one is responsible for the success of the business not only contribute to self-satisfaction, but also instills in the individual a sense of accomplishment and confidence in one's ability. Next है easy of formation and closure. वापस वही फायदे हैं. An important merit of sole proprietorship is the possibility of entering into the business, right? Entering in the business with minimum legal formalities. There is no separate law that governs the sole proprietor. As a sole proprietor is the least regulated form, it is very easy to start and the close business as per the wish of the owner. सही है। तो क्या क्या पढ़ा हमने फ्रेंड्स? मेरिट्स में क्या है? क्विक डिसीजन, जल्दी ले सकते हैं हम। नंबर 2 हमने क्या पढ़ा? कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन। तीसरा हमने पढ़ा सेंस ऑफ डायरेक्ट इनिशिएटिव, सेंस ऑफ अकॉम्प्लिशमेंट, इजी ऑफ फॉर्मेशन एंड क्लोजर। लिमिटेशन, अब सोल प्रोप्राइटरशिप के लिमिटेशंस भी है, प्रॉब्लम्स भी है। तो क्या है लिमिटेशन? लिमिटेशन ये है कि रिसोर्सेज लिमिटेड है, मैनेजर अवेलेबिलिटी कम है, राइट, लंबे समय तक हम बिजनेस कर नहीं सकते, लॉट ऑफ लिमिटेशंस आर ऑल देयर, कैपिटल कम पड़ जाता है हमारे पास। तो पहला है लिमिटेड रिसोर्सेज, वो क्या लिखेंगे? रिसोर्सेज ऑफ द सोल प्रोप्राइटरशिप आर लिमिटेड टू हिज और पर्सनल सेविंग। क्या लिखा है? रिसोर्सेज ऑफ अ सोल प्रोप्राइटर आर लिमिटेड, resources of a sole proprietor are limited to his or her personal saving, borrowing from the others, दूसरों के पास से, banks and other lending institution hesitate to extend a long term loan to a sole proprietor। जो भी है उसको अपना बंदोबस्त खुद करना पड़ेगा। So what we can say, limited resources, पहला पॉइंट है limited resources। Number 2 is what? Number 2 is limited life of a business, वो भी हमने पढ़ा उसके कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स में। लॉन्ग लाइफ नहीं है, लिमिटेड लाइफ ऑफ द बिजनेस कंसर्न। द सोल प्रोप्राइटर बिजनेस इज ओन्ड एंड कंट्रोल्ड बाय वन पर्सन। तो डेथ हो सकता है, इंसैनिटी हो सकता है, इम्प्रिजनमेंट हो सकता है, सब पढ़ा आपने। फिजिकल एलिमेंट कुछ भी हो, इट लीड्स टू द क्लोजर ऑफ द बिजनेस। थर्ड हमने पढ़ा अनलिमिटेड लायबिलिटी is unlimited liabilities, right, personal asset have to pay, यानी गारंटी नहीं रहता है। मैनेजर लिमिटेड मैनेजर लायबिलिटी, राइट, ओनली वन पर्सन हिमसेल्फ मैनेज द होल बिजनेस, तो उसकी कैपेसिटी क्या हो जाती है? कम हो जाती है। ही कैन नॉट लुक आफ्टर एवरीथिंग, परचेजिंग, सेलिंग, फाइनेंसिंग, मार्केटिंग, सब कुछ थोड़ी खुद कर पाएगा। इट्स वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट। The owner has to assume the responsibility of varied managerial tasks such as purchasing, selling, financing, etc. It is rare to find an individual who excels in all these areas. बहुत मुश्किल है कि सब फील्ड में कोई एक्सपर्ट मिल जाए। तो फ्रेंड्स, लिमिटेशन में हमने पढ़ा लिमिटेड रिसोर्सेज, राइट। नंबर 2 हमने पढ़ा लिमिटेड लाइफ ऑफ अ बिजनेस, अनलिमिटेड लायबिलिटी, लिमिटेड मैनेजरियल एबिलिटी, राइट। तो ये टॉपिक हमने देखा। नाउ कम्स हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली। हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली जो बिजनेस होता है, इट इज मेनली सीन इन द नेपाल एंड इंडिया, एंड इट इज बाय द इनहेरिटेंस, पीढ़ी दर पीढ़ी, जैसे कि टाटा, बिरला, रिलायंस, ऐसे को हम कहते हैं हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड, राइट। लेकिन इट्स अ कंपनी हो चुका है, लेकिन जो छोटे फॉर्म में चलता है उसे हम क्या कहते हैं? Inheritance. Hindu undivided family business is specific form of business organization which is found only in India और नेपाल में भी दिखता है। This one is the oldest form of business organization, जिसमें जो eldest most member को हम कर्ता बोलते हैं। It is one of the oldest form of business organization in the country. It refers to the form of organization wherein the business is owned and carried by its members. It is governed by the Hindu law. The basic of the membership in the business in the are the 3 features, right? First is the formation. Formation के लिए उसको सिर्फ जन्म लेना पड़ता है बच्चे को। For a Hindu joint family, there should be at least 2 members in the family, and ancestral property is inherited by them. उनकी जो property है वो उनके पास होना चाहिए। The business does not require any agreement because membership is by the birth से मिलता है उनको, ठीक है। So what is the formation? For a joint Hindu family business, there should be at least 2 members in the family, 2 member होने चाहिए, and ancestral property is inherited by them, उनके पास ancestral property होना चाहिए। Business does not require any agreement की जरूरत नहीं है, क्यों? क्योंकि इस membership is by the birth। Next is the liability. The liability of the member except the karta is limited to the share of the co-parency property of the business. उनका ही हाथ में सारा अधिकार रहता है। How, but कर्ता has one problem, liability क्या रहता है उसका? Unlimited। Control, full control किसके हाथ में रहता है? कर्ता। The control of the family lies with the कर्ता. He takes all the decisions he takes all the decision to manages the business. He decisions are binding the other members. उसी को खुद वही सब कुछ काम करता है. फॉर्मेशन प्रोसेस हमने पढ़ा. लायबिलिटी कंट्रोल. नेक्स्ट है कंटिन्यूटी. ये बिजनेस क्या लंबे समय तक चलता है. सोल प्रोप्राइटरशिप में तो पता है ना, एक डेथ हो जाता है, कुछ भी प्रॉब्लम आता है तो बिजनेस बंद. लेकिन यहाँ ऐसा नहीं है. The business continues even after the death of the कर्ता, as the next eldest member takes up the position, leaving the business stable. Business तो वही रहता है, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है उसको. However, he terminates with the mutual consent of the members. वो चाहिए तो अपने हिसाब से दूसरे को डिसॉल्व सकते हैं. माइनर मेंबर, जितने भी माइनर मेंबर है सब मेंबर ही है. जिसने भी लिया वो सब मेंबर. The inclusion of an individual into the business occurs due to birth in an individual undivided family. Hence, minor can also be the member of the business. Okay, friends, just revise up to here. In the next period, we will see the merits. Okay.